Welcome to the very first content counseling, where we mend bridges and sometimes destroy them. Today we discuss Frenemies and KLEINS and Trisha Paytas' epic ending. How can we mend these bridges? How will enemies become friends again? And can the epic circle of frenemies continue? We will be discussing the issues that led to the downfall of the show that brought two sides of YouTube together. It was a tough time, and everybody needed something. These two came together, and it was epic. We will be discussing the things that led to their downfall, points such as mental health, the notorious 5%, the ownership of the show, the H3 crew, and if they're toxic, and how can these issues be mended. We will discuss all this in this video. The aim is to conclude on mutual terms, and the ultimate goal would be to bring back Frenemies for at least a reunion episode. Before we start, a little bit of a backstory. The rise and fall of Frenemies. Until now, the story has been exhausted on YouTube, and you can find plenty of videos that can fill you in. A true fan would know what's been going on and has seen every episode. The unexpected duo formed when Trisha came on a segment on the H3 podcast where they had a mini bachelor reality show. Funnily, Trisha ended up with someone not even on the show, Ethan's brother-in-law, Moses. Now Trisha and Ethan had clash heads in the past where they went back and forth when Ethan made a video about Instagrammers photoshopping images of their bodies to an unattainable features, he went really hard on her, and I'm sure she was hurt by it. Eventually, as Trisha and Moses, they announced their engagement, and this meant that Trisha would be part of Ethan's family from now on, and out of this, Frenemies was born. The set was perfect. They had the pink and the black, and it was beautiful. The timing was perfect. Everybody was stuck at home. This was the weirdest thing that I had seen. These two were enemies, and now they're friends, and the show's called Frenemies. It was perfect. The name, the show, everything, perfect. Everyone needed this. The exact show. And it was a hit. As much as the show was a hit, it was inevitable. Everyone knows Trisha Paytas. She has several conditions and is constantly on a journey of finding herself. Ethan, on the other hand, likes all his drama to be kept at arm's length. Nothing is ever up close and personal, and always through the internet, very, very far away from him. But now he had welcomed a tornado into his home, sitting right next to him. It was a recipe for disaster, but their friendship seemed genuine, and that it could push through the potential bust-ups that could occur. The fact that Trisha had been through different YouTube crews made her very cautious at the time, and Ethan convinced her, his charm and friendship, that this time would be different. Fast forward to now, and regardless of the circumstances, Trisha is out and is now a running joke on the H3 podcast, consistently getting bullied by Ethan and his crew. They have now gone and done the exact same thing that they reassured Trisha they wouldn't do. This brings us to our first topic, mental health. Mental health is such an important thing to factor into this. Both Trisha and Ethan suffer from mental health issues. This was a fact that they bonded over at the beginning of the show. However, the very thing that we all thought would keep them together is the thing that drove them apart. They are both equally wrong on this point. Admittedly, Trisha has more severe mental health issues. However, that should not belittle Ethan's mental health. Just because Trisha has been through more doesn't mean Ethan's mental health should be put to the side. His is just as important to hers, and this is where a big point has been overlooked. Ethan felt like he was always putting Trisha's needs ahead of his, always going along with her views rather than his, adjusting to the way she thought, and adjusting his words in order to not offend her. He was basically treading on thin ice from the beginning, and they both knew that. Trisha's potential to have a setback was more serious than if Ethan was to have a setback. But this kind of thinking could not last, and eventually Ethan had enough, and it was at that moment where he decided not to bend that it all failed. Trisha did not, in that moment, value all the effort that Ethan had done for her, and, and didn't cut him the slack that he deserved. Instead, she did the selfish thing and focused on herself. Now, not to say she is wrong and he is right, just that in that moment she did not support her friend the way he had been supporting her throughout. One point is the 5%. Now, the 5%, while not being that important, was still a very important topic throughout the arguments. Now, my opinion is different, and I'll explain. Trisha is right about this one. Ethan has made a mistake here, in my opinion. The show should be split 50-50. It was Ethan's choice to use his own crew. Why should that come out of Trisha's script? If anything, it should be split 47.5, with the 5 going to the crew that's left over. Talent costs should be split evenly, as you both have a right to the show. This is where something else comes up. The show itself was on Ethan's channel. How can there be a fair split when all the subscribers, all the views goes to the H3 channel? Let's make some assumptions, because during that time I doubt Trisha considered this or checked the stats. She probably felt hard done that all her hard work was translating to more engagement on the H3 channel, more subscribers on the H3 channel. On top of that, crew costs were coming out of her cut. All that seems unfair. But let's look at the stats to make sure. Let's move on to the crew and ask this question. Are they toxic? Is this group and their inside jokes toxic? You know the soundbite that Zach uses? It's hilarious. It's so funny. But it does highlight an issue. Trisha opened up to you guys about her insecurities. She let you know how her previous encounters with groups were very traumatic. That is her struggle in life, and you did not respect it. H3 should have made a conscious effort to make sure nothing similar happened this time. To you, it was small jokes. To her, you were all strangers. She's putting herself in a completely one-sided situation, and as soon as things got sour, the "fuck you, Trisha" sound bites came out. It's bullying someone who is already going through it. Think about how much stress she brought you guys and how that affected you. For her, she felt what you felt, but multiplied by her illnesses. These are her worries. It makes everything harder for her. If these sorts of things slip through on air, I can't imagine the jokes when the cameras are off. And Trisha wasn't there. I'm sure you guys have lots of inside jokes and things that you could never say to her face. Well, when you participate in this type of private jokes, the person can feel them when they meet you. The vibes are there, and you can see how it affects her in person. So, let's have a quick look at the stats.
Frenemies' first video was in September 15th, 2020. There was about 40 videos made with Trisha and 41 if you include Ethan's quitting video about Trisha. That was on June 10th, 2021. So let's look at the H3 podcast. You can see here on Social Blade that between that time there was a considerable growth of views, but let's take a look at the subscribers. Yeah, right there you can see 260,000 subscribers was the peak during Frenemies. Whereas on Trisha's channel, in the same time period, her views generally stayed the same. There was a bit of a dip there, but her maximum subscriber growth was 90,000 subscribers. The H3 channel almost tripled the amount of subscribers that she got. This is proof that there was an unbalance there, and I can see how Trisha found that unfair. That being said, there's a lot more to the story than just that. So, this is unfair, and for Ethan to stand so firm on the 5% joke thing, I think that's very unfair. Now, in this episode of Content Counseling, we are not trying to make things worse. We do not want to destroy any bridges today. We want to mend them. The fact that it is Trisha versus a whole group, the fact that the H3 channel was benefiting from Frenemies' show but still took production costs out of Trisha's split, the fact that Trisha is joining Ethan's family, and the fact that Trisha expressed her worries before working with the group, and she told them very clearly that she had trauma from this, and they said they would respect that. These facts all show that Ethan should be the one to make the first move and mend this bridge. He is taking this way too far. He's putting her in the same category as Keemstar. His reaction, his continual ridiculing behavior towards her, she's a running joke on the podcast. It's not just damaging to Trisha, but it's damaging the relationship his own wife has with her brother. Even if Ethan believes he is not in the wrong, he is the only one who can fix this. Trisha has no power to fix this. He holds all the power in this situation. It would take an ego check on his part, but I believe Ethan always wants to do the right thing, and in this situation, he is lost in anger, which is understandable. But I have seen Ethan do the right thing before. Trisha would also have to check her ego and not dwell on things that have been said. Both have crossed lines in their anger, but you both love people that are connected. Do it for them first. At least make it possible for a sister and brother to attend each other's special moments. Already, because of your YouTube drama, a sister did not go to her brother's wedding. Once you guys fix that aspect, the family side, the private side, that I'm sure you can put the other wrong words behind you. Put this phase of being enemies behind you and go back to being friends. It is in the name of the show, Frenemies. It's an epic circle, and it's time to be friends again. My suggestion would be to work out costs and create a Frenemies channel where you both get the views and subscribers that the two of you deserve as a duo. If that is too much work, at least give the fans a reunion episode. Do not leave the internet in this split. Ethan and the H3 crew, you are better than the other crews Trisha was in. So be better. Extend an olive branch. Thank you, and subscribe if you enjoyed this. We will have more to come this year. Slap a like to get a reunion episode and share this to Ethan and Trisha.